Could everyone please rise while we recite the council prayer? Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Here.
Councilor Lenzi.
Here.
Councilor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Armand Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
Councilor Elliott.
Here.
9 present.
The mayor has a citation and a proclamation to present this evening, and it is with great pleasure and honor that I present this citation to a Lowell police officer who has exemplified the class and what it really means to be a protector of the innocent in our city. Brian McMahon, would you please come forward? It's a citation from the mayor and the city council. Be it hereby known to all that the city of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts extends its deepest congratulations to Detective Brian W. McMahon for being awarded the 2008 Police Officer of the Month bestowed by the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. It is a nonprofit organization dedicated to honoring the service and sacrifice of America's law enforcement officers. Brian has been a Lowell police officer for 30 years, beginning his career as a dispatcher and rising to the rank of detective throughout his career. He has received numerous awards for bravery and valor. Brian is the Vice Narcotic Evidence Officer and is responsible for the continuity of evidence in high-profile drug cases, as well as the storage of large sums of cash and narcotics at the crime lab. Brian serves as the president of the New England Police Benevolent Association, Incorporated, Local 9000 AFL-CIO, and a national representative for the International Brotherhood of Police Officers. Brian exemplifies the essence of hard work, dedication, commitment, and determination. The entire city honors Detective Brian M. McMahon for all his accomplishments and wishes him the best for continued success. Given this 27th day of May in the year 2008 by Mayor Caulfield, the entire City Council, the Lynch administration, and the 104,000 residents who reside here, Brian, you're the best.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Manager Lynch, and Superintendent Lavelli, and everyone who are here tonight, thank you very, very much. You know, it's an awkward position. It really is awkward and a little bit uncomfortable being singled out for things when so many people are involved in so many endeavors. But I'm extremely proud to have been able to go down to Washington, D.C. during National Police Week, May 12th through 15th, and represent my family, the Lowell Police Department, and the city of Lowell at the events that took place there. There's a motto from the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. It says, respect, honor, and remember. I'm proud to say that I was part of a very large contingent of members of the Lowell Police Department, patrolmen, supervisors, retired officers, and non-sworn personnel that attended the candlelight vigil and other events down there, paying particular note to those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And I'd like to draw your attention to, there were 358 names added to the memorial, which now stands at over 18,000 of law enforcement officers who've been line of duty deaths. There were 181 that actually took place in 2007. The others were done through research that had happened in previous years. but I'm very proud to say that we had a fine contingent there to pay tribute to the memory of our 4 fallen brothers whose portraits hang downstairs outside the clerk's office, namely Patrick Levitt, George F.A. Pearsall, John Joseph Wynn, and Christos G. Rousas. So I'm proud to say that our contingent did the city fine, represented it well, and did pay honor and respect and remembrance. And I thank you very much. I'm deeply touched and very proud. Thank you.
Officer McMahon, you're a credit to the uniform you wear, you're a credit to your family, and a credit to this great city. And I'd like to recognize, behind every successful man, there's a woman. I'd like to recognize Brian McMahon's wife. Please stand up and take a bow for all the hard work you've done. And now I have a proclamation to present to Linda Bump and Bonnie Deneen. If you come to the podium, I'll read the proclamation, then I'll bring it down to you, okay? And these ladies have worked hard, very hard, to beautify our city. Whereas gardeners have a passion for nurturing the beauty and resources of the earth through the planting of seeds, the care of all plants, and the riches of their efforts, and gardeners seek to add beauty, splendor, fragrance, and nutrition to our lives through the growing of herbs, vegetables, foliage, and flowers. And whereas gardeners work to preserve our country's traditional spirit of independence and initiatives through innovation and hard work, and gardeners advocate the importance of all creatures, large and small, that share our world and their roles in a balanced and productive ecology. And whereas gardening furnishes a challenging and productive activity for many citizens, for those just learning as well as those having years of experience in gardening, enables members of the garden club across the nation and the world to serve others in the communities where they work and reside. Now, therefore, I would see Caulfield and the Lowell City Council, along with the National Garden Clubs Incorporated, designate this week of June 1st through June 7th as a time for National Garden Week, given this 27th day of May in the year 2008 by Mayor Caulfield and the entire Lowell City Council. Congratulations.
This here? That's mine. I was looking for it.
Good evening. I'm Linda Bump, past president of the Lowell Garden Club, and on their behalf, I thank you.
Good evening. I'm Bonnie Deneen. I am also a past president of the Lowell Garden Club, but I am in this capacity this evening, I am the regional director, the Northern Regional Director that oversees 25 garden clubs in this area with 1,465 members, not including junior gardeners, that bring it over 2,000 membership in this immediate area. We thank you for the proclamation, and we will continue to help and serve our community. Thank you.
And we want to thank you. Moving on with the agenda, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting and place them on file. Move to accept the minutes by Council Broderick, seconded by Council Elliott. All in favor, signify by saying aye. The minutes have been accepted and placed on file. Communications from City Manager. Any responses from the Council? Council Milanowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I'll bring it up. There's a lot of information in the packet this evening regarding the Songus Arena. Maybe, Mr. Manager, you can enlighten us as to what the current status is. The solicitor is here, and I know that she did respond to the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, as well as worked with the arena commissioners in order to really kind of set the record straight, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I...
Go ahead.
Counselor, we wanted to make sure that the council was aware of the correspondence that was going back and forth between the university and the Arena Commission. I had an opportunity, as you see, there's another piece of correspondence in there for myself to the Chancellor. He and I had a conversation last week where we talked about some of these issues, and I think the Arena Commission and myself are optimistic that we'll be able to work out many of these issues with the university. Clearly, the university had a different perspective and position on some of the issues regarding the fees that they're charged in order to use the arena and the costs associated with the use of the arena. I think the solicitor did an excellent job in going back and researching some of the history and providing some additional information to the university in response that I'm hopeful will sort of put this behind us, but allow us then to move on to start to talk about the longer-term relationship of the university and the city working in partnership with the use of the arena.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to discuss any of the communications from Manager Lynch? Accept the communications and place them on file by Council Mercia, seconded by Council Broderick. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Communications have been accepted and placed on file. Communications from City Manager to discuss the possible budget hearing dates. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, I included within your packet a memo outlining the budget preparations that are ongoing. We anticipate that we will have the budget in the hands of the City Council later this week or the beginning of next week, and we would offer up as an idea to have the budget hearings on June 9th and 10th. I believe the clerk has been working on this issue as well, and that was discussions that we had earlier, the idea that we would have the presentation of the budget on June 9th and then carry over any additional discussions onto the 10th of June.
Any questions or discussions on those dates? Council Milonazo.
Both dates are fine, but on the 10th, which is a city council night, we'll do that after the council meeting, I take it?
Yes.
Okay.
Get the council meeting out of the way.
Correct,
and
yes. Okay.
Any other? Council Elliott?
But typically we start the council meeting at 5 o'clock and then go right into the budget hearings?
Council, we're actually planning an economic development subcommittee meeting at 5 o'clock on the 10th. So,
If we have budget hearings on the Monday night, on the 9th,
right.
we could probably get through the bulk of the budget, and there wouldn't be that much left over on Tuesday. So, any discussion on those dates? What time would you like to set those budget hearings? Regular time, 6:30? Councilor Martin? What's that? 5 o'clock?
5.
That's fine with me. 5 o'clock? All in favor of the time? 5 o'clock.
This will be on Monday, correct? Monday at 5 o'clock?
Monday,
Okay.
June the 9th, and then Tuesday, the 10th. Now, on Tuesday, it will be 6:30. You understand that? Because that's when the regular council meeting...
Correct.
Okay.
I would advertise the public hearing to resume at the conclusion of the city council meeting of that evening. So whatever time the city council were to conclude, we'd have a 5-minute recess and then go right into the budget session.
Motion to accept the communication, place it on file by Council Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Rita Mercia. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Those communications are placed on file. The budget dates have been set for June the 9th at 5 o'clock and June the 10th at 6:30. The budget hearings will follow right after the council meeting. Okay? Moving on with the agenda. We have a request for out-of-state travel, 4 out-of-state travel requests. Any discussion?
Motion to take them all together.
Motion to take them all together by Council Rita Mercia, second by Council Broderick. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Roll call.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Raman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
9 yeas.
We have a constable bond for David LaMagna, Andover, Mass. Move for approval by Councilor Mike Lindsay, seconded by Councilor Elliott. Roll call.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Raman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Vote authorizing the city council to ratify and approve the execution of the city manager of the memorandum of understanding between the city of Lowell and Merrimack Valley Employee Agency inspectors covering the period July 1st, 2007 through June 30th, 2010. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All in favor? Waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Full reading has been waived. Second reading by title, authorizing the city council to ratify and approve the execution by the city manager of the memorandum of understanding between the city of Lowell and the MVA inspectors covering the period of July 1st, 2007 through June 30th, 2010. Any discussion, any debate on this particular article? Roll
Move
call.
approval.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Moving on with the agenda, manager recommends the amount of $10,734 to various department accounts, salary and wages, $10,734 from overlay surplus of $10,734. Any discussion? Council Rita Mercer.
Mr. Mayor, I just came to the conclusion that that in the next vote is going to be $12,000 less from your 1.5 million that you're looking for. That's the only observance that I have with this.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Manager recommends the amount of $2,503 to various department accounts, salary and wages, $2,503 from overlay surplus, $2,503. Any discussion, any debate on this particular transfer? Move for approval by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian. Roll call.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Subcommittee reports. Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We convened continued a meeting of the Auditor Clerk Oversight Subcommittee this evening, and to take up a number of issues. The first we took up was a motion referred from the Mayor, Mayor Caulfield, relative to the overlay account and what funds may be available for transfer to help lessen the tax burden on the residents. And there was several asks by Mayor Caulfield as he upped the ante, and it looks like we're going to try and be conservative in terms of make sure we're protected from any shortfalls and don't run into a situation where we get hit for a double whammy in the late fall as we set the tax rate and get things certified from DOR. But we're hoping to stretch it to 1.4. Apparently the manager has indicated that, and as well as the assessor, Sulamay. In attendance was fellow subcommittee members, Councilor Martin, Councilor Rita Mercia, Councilor Jim Milonazo, Councilor Mike Lenzi, Councilor Alan Kazanjian, the mayor, city manager, the assessor, and the auditor, as well as the clerk. There was a general consensus that we need to use this money now, rather than leaving it to sit in an account that we hopefully aren't going to need it for in any event. And we're waiting to find out. Hopefully, shortly after we get, or it'll be included in the budget, but a vote will come up shortly thereafter. Once it's by statute, the Board of Assessors has to evaluate it and make a vote, a determination. Then it would come forward as an appropriation through the manager's office. So at that time, we will have an exact figure. Hopefully, it won't be reduced by the $12,000 we just voted on, but we won't hold them to it. And then we also continued discussions. There was a motion I think referred from the mayor again, Mayor Caulfield, relative to free cash. And the status of that, as we all know, that cannot be or won't be determined until sometime when the books close in December. The auditor will put the final numbers together, present them for certification through DOR. So we're going to be looking at October, November, hopefully October-ish. Right now it's a negative number, but the administration and they're squeezing people to return as much as possible. so that hopefully we have some money available to decide what the use will be, but the indication we're getting is it's not very likely. That was our discussion on free cash. We also were informed through the auditor that there are several accounts outstanding from past years. A milk and lunch revolving fund of about $100,000 that needs to be cleared up. That's going to be an ongoing issue. I think the auditor is going to be working on sometime in the future. It looks like there was an overspent police grant from several years ago for maybe, was it 1999? For $57,000 that we're trying to clear up, as well as Arcan Drive Fund of about $335,000 and change. Hopefully, they total about $500,000. Hopefully, we'll see resolution of the second two shortly, and the milk and lunch revolving fund is going to be worked out with the school department through Mr. Lang. So we await the results of that. The auditor's done a good job so far of consolidating and clearing up accounts for us. And then we moved on to the confusing part, which is the actual evaluation for the auditor. And it was determined that we would look to the city solicitor for some guidance and interpretation between the contract and the ordinance in terms of for the auditor, and also I believe the city clerk is not in a grid or an ordinance. So whether we do an evaluation as a written form, verbal, some type of I guess instructions from your office as to how we go about evaluating and bringing the contract in line with the ordinance, or making sure we're in line with the contract, and then it falls somewhere in the grid in the ordinance for the auditor. And hopefully, if we can get that in the near future, we can reconvene and discuss the next step in completing the evaluation, which is overdue by contract. It should be on a yearly basis, and we're a year and 5 months out. So. And I think the general consensus was the auditor has done yeoman's work in a year and a half in terms of consolidating accounts, reconciling cash that hasn't been done in 2 years plus, and we will all have an opportunity to weigh in at a future meeting. Thank you.
Anyone else like to weigh in on this subcommittee report? It was an excellent meeting, Councilor Broderick, and it was nice to see the council in the boat, all rowing together, and all on one page, the manager included, to address the coming budget and any deficits we might have. Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to agree with your comments. I'm a member of that subcommittee, and I think really what the council is looking to do is to, keep the burden on the taxpayer as low as possible. One way to do that is to take money that's set aside for property tax abatements every year, and when a determination can be made that there aren't going to be that many abatements, that money can then be surplused by the assessors, is the term the statute uses for it, back to the city and back to the taxpayer. So either it will reduce the budget gap that we have, and if in the event there's more money available than we thought, that can be applied directly to the tax rate and be a savings to the taxpayer. So most of the members of the council were present at the meeting. Everybody was in favor of that approach of getting as much money as possible applied to the tax rate, and so that's what we intend to do.
Mr. Manager, would you like to comment on
Well, I think that, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that someone said we're all on the same page, and I think, generally speaking, we are all on the same page. Certainly, we want to look out for the taxpayers and take the appropriate action to, there's no need in holding on to money if we don't need it at the expense of the taxpayers in terms of additional taxes or in terms of beyond what is anticipated or service cuts. The only caution I guess I would throw out there, just to be somewhat cautious, is that we want to make sure too that we don't take an action that is beneficial at this point in time but has dire consequences for the city in the next couple of years. So that's something that, as I indicated last week, we're looking to utilize the overlay account, the overlay surplus that may be available to help us close that gap in the snow and ice budget. But we're being very responsible in the way we're looking at that to make sure that the appropriate amount of money is released. I do think that I am optimistic that we can get it to that 1.2 to 1.4 number, Mr. Mayor, that you and I discussed.
1.4 sounds good.
I knew you thought that, and that's something that I think is certainly doable as well. But it's going to take a couple months to get to that point, but we are optimistic that we can do that, and again, take the appropriate action for this fiscal year while maintaining our stability in the out years as well.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Accept the report as a report of progress by Council Mercia, seconded by Council Milonazo. All in favor of the report, signify by saying aye. The report has been accepted and placed on file. We're going to move right on. Any more subcommittee reports? We're going to move right on with the petitions. Miscellaneous, ATC Associates, Woburn, Mass. Request place antennae, that's the way it's pronounced, Ice Bridge and GPS on Phoenix Avenue, referred to the Law Department by Council Rita Mercia, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That's on its way to the Law Department. The next petition, Daily Designs, 58 Prescott Street, request overhanging sign, referred to the Law Department by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian. All in favor, signify by saying aye. That's on the way to the Law Department. Last petition, Eddie Santiago, 84 Agawam Street, requests handicap sign, referred to the traffic engineer by Councilor Rita Mercia, seconded by Councilor Armin Mercia. What's that? That's on the way to the traffic engineer. Right. It's too early to open up the public hearings?
I have 7 on the dot.
I guess. Do you have? Okay. It is now time to open the agenda to a public hearing. And what I will let you know, you'll have 5 minutes or less to speak in favor, 5 minutes or less to speak in opposition. And when you please come to the podium, just give us your name and address. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, with respect to Chapter 2 thereof, administration, by adding the following in Article 4, Division 7, Office of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, a new division of the City Manager's Office, and creating one director full-time and establishing the salary therefore. Those wishing to speak in favor, please come to the podium.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Rosemary Noon. I'm at 44 Highland Street. I'm working as a consultant to the Lowell Plan on the implementation of the city's creative economy plan. This is a plan that you're all familiar with. It maps out an agenda for bringing together art, culture, technology, and business with a focus on economic initiatives and financial viability. The creation of this department will increase administrative support for the city's for-profit creative economy sector and help stabilize the city's existing nonprofits, festivals, and events that are so often the foundation upon which the private sector builds. Senator Mazzelli spoke in Lowell recently and talked about culture and tourism as the third largest economic cluster in the state. The creation of this department is certainly in keeping with the goals and recommendation of Lowell's Creative Economy Plan and is consistent with the way the state and New England are directing the discussion in and around the economic health of Massachusetts cities and towns. So I urge you to support the establishment of this office. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Administration. My name is Tom McKay. I live at 111 Draper Street, Lowell. I'm the president of Mill City Management. I'm also a member of the Board of Cool. And I'm here also to speak in favor of establishing and creating the Office of Cultural Affairs. I promised Mr. McCallum I'd keep it to less than 5 minutes, so just wanted to speak in favor of it. Thank you.
Tom, I'm going to take your extra minutes, okay? Never pass up a chance to speak. Good evening, Mayor, councilors, and Mr. Manager. My name is Deb Belanger. I live at 65 La Plume Avenue in Lowell, Massachusetts, and I am the executive director of the Greater Merrimack Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau. The CVB was founded in October of 1992, and we are celebrating our 15 years as one of the 13 regional tourism councils in the state of Massachusetts. I've had the privilege of working for the CVB since 2000 under the leadership of the Board of Directors, currently chaired by Representative Tom Golden. The CVB, as I'm sure you will all agree, is a critical component of the infrastructure in the city of Lowell for tourism development, marketing, and economic impact. The CVB has been a true partner in developing new tourism and cultural programs and special events. Since 2000, we have brought in excess of $34 million in economic impact just in conventions and sporting events alone. The CVB has been a leader in raising funds through grants and with our generous business community to add capacity for these events to be successful. Thank you. How has this been accomplished? This is the result of partnerships and collaborations. Lowell is known around the Commonwealth for its can-do attitude and the ability to work together. The leadership of the City Council, the City Administration, Craig Gates and the Songus Arena Management, Tom McKay and the Lowell Memorial Auditorium Management, the business community, including Jim Cook at the Lowell Plan and Jean Osborne at the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, as well as our own Andy St. Ange from the Special Events Office and Elsie Nunn of the Cultural Office of Lowell, are all key partners to Lowell's success. We don't work in a vacuum. We can't work in a vacuum. We need each and every one of us to succeed in Lowell's economic future. We know the economy is not in great shape. We know businesses are struggling. We know that our residents are struggling to make ends meet. We need to help our business and cultural community succeed, and we need to keep our taxes in check. However, we also need to reinvest in our future. Since 2000, the City of Lowell has received $2.6 million in taxes from the hotel tax alone. The CVB is lucky to work with some of the best leaders in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The CVB has a very talented and dedicated board of directors leading our tourism efforts. The CVB has a very talented and passionate staff. I'd be one of those. I commend former Mayor Armin Murcia for establishing the Cultural Task Force to determine a course of action to assist our museums, creative economy, and cultural institutions to become sustainable for years to come. The CVB welcomes and supports the proposed change in order that we meet those challenges and enhance the economic capacity in this community and to enhance the cultural life in the city of Lowell. Thank you for your attention tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. My name is Eileen Donahue. I reside at 257 Andover Street in the city of Lowell. I want to thank you and the members of the council for giving your attention and consideration to this ordinance once again, actually the two ordinances. And I won't repeat my pitch of a few months ago, but since we were here a couple of months ago, I think what really needed to be addressed were some of the questions raised by the members of the council, appropriately so. This is new legislation that the council is being asked to approve. And at the time we appeared before you back then, there were some unanswered questions. Everybody thought we all agreed and we had all dotted the I's and crossed the T's, but in truth, there was still some remaining threads that had to be taken up. And one of those had to do with how this was going to be funded, and that, I guess, goes to the second ordinance on, or the second issue. Where was the money going to come from? And that was a very legitimate and appropriate question for this council, who is charged with, balancing the budget and holding the purse strings for the city of Lowell. And so to address that, I'm here tonight as a member of the Cool Board, the cultural organization of Lowell. And since we appeared here before on that special night in terms of that public hearing, the Cool Board has met and has voted to take up whatever additional costs there are. And so to that end, let me just say that the salary in question, which is going to be addressed in the second ordinance, any excess over and above what is currently being paid to the position is going to be absorbed by the Cool Board. It's going to be absorbed by by grant funding. And I want to make it clear that the vote also said this would not be done with city funds. And so it's completely dependent upon the Cool Board applying for and receiving grant funding to pay that portion of the salary. And let me just say that, again, this is, and I would submit the essence of partnership of the Cool Board, the cultural organization of Lowell, and working in conjunction with the city. This is a very unusual partnership and a very unusual position where it's being paid part by a nonprofit board, part by city funds, all to an end that we all agree with in principle, and that is to make the cultural organizations here in the city of Lowell the economic engines and the economic development engines that we know they can be. So Cool voted in favor of it, and more importantly voted to assure the council that there is a vote on record to take responsibility for the additional costs through grant funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor?
Good evening. I believe my speech is timed at 4 minutes. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Manager, and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Carol Ann Meehan, and I reside at 172 Middle Street. That's in downtown. Lowell is an extraordinary place with enormous potential. I'm going to tell you things you already know. Its assets include its rich history, diversity, natural beauty, and striking architecture. It is home to 2 institutions of higher learning and a cultural sector with established organizations such as the Merrimack Repertory Theater and a burgeoning community of artists and smaller organizations. Lowell is easily accessed by all of the major roads and enjoys the benefits of a frequently operating commuter rail. With so many stunning assets, the creation of an Office of Cultural Affairs and Special Events is a highly logical and wise move whose time has come. A strong office such as this will lead the charge of bringing Lowell's cultural sector to the next level, which will result in myriad benefits to all areas of the community, especially including the catalyzing of increased economic activity and job creation. I have had the opportunity to hear the council discuss this topic on 2 occasions. Council members are wise to ask questions about this initiative. In these challenging economic times, careful scrutiny of how the city's resources are proposed to be used is absolutely essential. I noted questions from members about how this new office will function and exactly what is the imperative behind merging existing city staff and operations into one office. I support the ordinance before you wholeheartedly, but I too would benefit from having a clearer understanding of how this new office will function. A few months ago, Lowell residents were invited to attend public interviews with the finalists for the position of school superintendent, a wonderful way to invite public participation and introducing transparency to that hiring process. As we know, the city manager has recommended an individual to lead this new office who was already known to the community through her wonderful work heading up the Cool office. We all should support her as she transitions to take on the job of leading this new office, being aware that her new post will present exponentially greater challenges and opportunities than the job of directing Cool. It is imperative that the city manager's appointment succeed in this role, because if she succeeds, then we all succeed, and that is the undeniably desired outcome. While the choice for this position has been made, thus presenting no need for public interviews as were held with the school superintendent's search, there are ways to bring transparency and public participation into the launch of this new office. Tonight, I make a request to that end, and am eager to hear about other ideas and proposals along these lines. My request is as follows. Should the council vote to create this new office, I ask that the city manager schedule a public meeting in the near future during which the office's director outlines her strategy and priorities for leading this new arm of city government. This meeting should be promoted comprehensively and exhaustively to all corners of the community via every outlet possible. I would also ask that language and ASL interpreters be present if that can be arranged. At this presentation, I would ask that the following be addressed, among other things. how this office will instill core values and principles in Lowell's cultural sector, such as excellence and accountability, how collegiality and respect for ideas and fair processes will be ensured, how participation by all is to be invited, including encouraging those who in the past have not come forward to apply for this office's support. An extremely important point that I would ask the new director to address is the following: the definition of a clear and objective process for making funding decisions, both through the re-granting of the office's budget and through its oversight of the Lowell Cultural Council, thus ensuring that the LCC adheres to guidelines established by the Massachusetts Cultural Council that it should follow. Further, how the office will lead efforts to strengthen the activity in the area of festivals, special events, marketing, and tourism. How the office will seek out and initiate new creative collaborations among individuals and institutions. Further, I request that a follow-up meeting take place 12 to 18 months after the launch of this office, in which the director reports on the outcomes of its first year of activity to the public. The cultural plan, referred to by...
Ma'am, are you almost...
Almost done.
Okay.
This is the last page. The cultural plan summarized in the Mount Auburn report includes 9 guiding principles, including, to quote from the report, gauge performance. Make sure that every organization that receives public and private resources is accountable to its investors. As taxpayers and residents here, let's remember that we are the investors in this office. As a resident and homeowner here raising 2 children who attend the public schools, I greatly look forward to what the coming years have in store with regard to creating a healthy, vibrant cultural sector for this city. Establishing this office is a vital and smart step in ensuring a bright future for all. Thank you.
Thank you. And could we have a copy of that report? And we will certainly refer it to the manager. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Caulfield, City Councilors, Mr. Manager. My name is Sharon Sawyer, and I live at 39 Methuen Street in Lowell. I am the current chair of the Lowell Cultural Council, and I would like first of all to say that in my capacity as chair and also on my years of the board, I have seen many, many collaborations grow up among the institutions and artists, and both new and old, coming to Lowell, and it's a very exciting process. I would like to lend my support to the creation of this new office, and as an independent council, the Lowell Cultural Council, which is not part of COOL and is not overseen by COOL, I would look very much forward to working collaboratively with COOL and with the city. Thank you very much.
Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor?
My name is Anna Harrison. I live at 47 Prospect Street in Lowell. And as an enthusiastic homeowner in Lowell, this is something that I believe we would benefit from. The price is right, and I ask you to give it to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak in favor?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Manager, ladies and gentlemen, for the record, my name is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street, Lowell, Mass. And I wish to be recorded in favor of this. This is an excellent thing that's being done. In Boston, the mayor's office has an office of cultural affairs and special events, and it leverages money. Here in Lowell, $100,000 allocated to COOL over the last 3 fiscal years, 06, 07, and 08, has averaged about $3.40 for every dollar. That is a lot of money. We've attracted a lot of visitors, thousands and thousands of visitors. They come for Destination World. They come for various festivals in the city, and people talk about it. And it's talked about on public radio, in the newspapers, national newspapers, international newspapers. I urge this council to unanimously approve this ordinance and the salary that goes with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Blackburn, Chief of Cultural Resources and Cultural Programs at Lowell National Historic Park. I'm at 930 Skyline Drive in Dracut. On behalf of myself and our Superintendent, Michael Creasy, we wholeheartedly support the ordinances that are before you. In the last 3 decades, we've accomplished much together. And in the spirit of what we've done in building our solid foundation of partnerships, not only with all of you, the City Council, other city offices, and organizations throughout the city. We see this as an opportunity to build on a very strong foundation and furthering the vibrant cultural economy in Lowell to create something bigger, better, and something that we can report on in another 30 years and be quite proud of. Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak in favor?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Councilors, and City Manager Lynch. My name is Michael Herman. I live at 172 Middle Street here in Lowell. My wife and I arrived in Lowell on the verge of closing on a condo in Salem in 2004 when my wife visited Lowell on business and the creative economy and on the street. Then and subsequently, when we both returned to check Lowell out, we were sold on how folks like us, people who work in the arts, artists, I'm an artist and my wife works in the arts, were needed and necessary in Lowell. And we took a look around at the real estate market and we changed our plan and we did not move to Salem. We came to Lowell and we've been here since 2004. It's been my pleasure to be involved in a number of activities in Lowell, including many activities without cool support would not have happened, and those include numerous poetry readings that I've been privileged to organize, and those span from 2006, a couple of events up to recently, Poetry Out Loud, which generated a buzz due to the students' enthusiasm here in council chambers not long ago in March. LZ Nunn requested a letter of recommendation from me in 2005 in late spring, and I was happy to provide a recommendation to her as an artist who was looking to work with her. In that letter, I said that I thought she could continue the current activities of COOL. She could expand on the activities. She could transition the office and bring in new activities, and it's been my pleasure to collaborate with her on some of those and to observe many others. Whenever we left this meeting, we came in support a couple months ago, February 5th, I guess it was. Whenever we left, we actually ran into LZ on the street, and we were talking with her, and we said, we look forward to the next meeting when we think that, it'll turn out more favorable, and we hope that, if you can, talk about creating more jobs with the office, that, and not focus on the one job, that'll give a lot more credibility to the expansion of the office. I continue my support from 2005 for the current director of COOL, and as we look to a transition, just as I spoke in favor of the transition from the former director to the current director, I believe that she can manage the transition from the current department to the proposed department and division, and I wish that, I wish her luck as she does, and I hope that as this happens that we'll realize and take steps to create jobs in the creative economy in Lowell. The governor's #1 priority for it, the creative economy, is the creation of jobs. He believes that the best model to do so is to identify what works elsewhere and bring it to the state. And I believe there are a lot of opportunities, many proposals, are out there, and some of them are mine for things that are not here now. By bringing these things here, we can create jobs outside of the city revenue stream, outside of the city budget, and we can reward creative enterprise, entrepreneurial individuals, especially those who bring proven track records to build the creative economy in Lowell. The creative economy is not some nebulous thing that we pin our hopes to. Yes, it is an actual functioning economic engine, and I look forward to continuing to work with the director, and I hope that we can see some increased opportunities. I'd like to leave some ideas here with the council tonight for a literature fellowship to create 4 jobs, portfolio review provided as a benefit to Lowell artists and also to show artists from outside Lowell that they're appreciated in the community, to create a unified proposal for major corporate sponsors such as a potential
How
grant from
much?
Target
You're almost
Corporation
finished. We're way over 5 minutes.
and a green design conference so that Lowell can show leadership in the state on issues that are just now emerging. So I'd like to offer this.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
If you could give that to Council Lindsay, we will certainly give it to the clerk, make copies, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor? If not, I'm going to rule that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Public hearing is closed. What is the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Second.
Move approved by Council Mercier, seconded by Council Broderick. Council Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ordinance was brought before this council some months ago, and at that time, the place was packed to the rafters with people in support of this. And I said at that time, as I would say today, that there is not one councilor sitting here that is against art. We have it in our motto, art is the handmaid of human good. And if anybody ventured to the City Hall this evening or sometime during the day, and they went into the mayor's reception room, they would see an exhibit of the greatest art that I've ever seen. And I believe that it's a contest, and they're going to be choosing winners and things. And I'm glad that I'm not a part of the judgeship on that, because I couldn't decide. It's magnificent. I think there's nothing greater than art. Art is, talk about transparency. When you think about the art, it's transparent in that whatever is in your mind comes out in a form of a painting, a dance, costumes, whatever. That is transparent to your mind. So I greatly feel for the arts. I think it's the most magnificent gesture of human form transposed from your mind into the creativity. So I do support it. There was language at that time that I just couldn't get my hands around to make it simplified so that we could understand it, and we had concerns. And through you, Mr. Mayor, the discussions with some of the councilors here to the city manager, you retooled it and retweaked it so that we could better understand it. And what I'm seeing now is an understanding of that. And I support it, not because I didn't support it the first time, but I needed clarity. I needed more teeth in it, and we got that. And so I'm here today to support that, because I think people that are here, and it's not packed to the rafters as it was before, but I want people to know that I really do support it, and I think it'll be a project that I think will be an engine, as the former mayor said, that will spark the economy to some degree, and I think that's always good for the city, so I support this.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this? Council Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would also like to say that the first time that this issue was brought up, I think there were many questions, and a lot of things were not clear, and I wasn't really even pleased at the way that it came up and that it was handled. But I am pleased that some of these things have taken a turn, and that I think that I understand the position better. When Debbie Belanger comes up and says there's $2.6 million in hotel taxes that are coming in, we need to keep them coming in or enhance those things. And I think through through Cool and analyzing the entire situation, I think this is possible. I think it's worth giving an opportunity. I think that Karen mentioned a 12 to 18-month evaluation. I think that that time frame should be much shorter, and that we should evaluate this probably 6 months down the line or sooner, as to what effects it's having, and how it's bringing the different organizations together, how the communication is improving, things like that. I know we have a new superintendent, Superintendent Chris Scott, and I think it would be beneficial to us that the person in this position work very closely with the new superintendent. I think that there's so much history and so many things in the city that we tend to overlook, that a joint effort maybe in addressing those types of things would be extremely beneficial. So I plan to support this ordinance this evening. I guess when Anna says the price is right, I think that we would be better able to judge that as we go forward. But certainly in this economy, something new, something that would give us a shot in the arm or possibly give us a shot in the arm, I certainly would not want to be an obstructionist and give it absolutely the benefit of the doubt, but certainly evaluate it after a period of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Lindsay. Councilor Kazanjian?
Thank you, Mayor. Is this this public hearing, is this two parts to this ordinance, or is it just one? It's
I
gonna be
neglected to inform the public, there was only one ordinance. The initial ordinances, there were two, but there's only one ordinance. The ordinance is pertaining to the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, the Paul Songus Arena, and the Merrimack Valley Convention and Business Bureau, and the salary. That's all compiled into one ordinance.
Okay. Well, I don't support, I support the position, but I don't support the pay raise. And I think I stated the last time we talked about it that I know it's coming from grant money, but we fund Cool $100,000 a year. And if they can grab this grant money and put it to other avenues through the artists, and I support the artists 100%, that I think we got troubled times right now. We're scraping up nickels and dimes to make our budget, and we got a 40% pay raise for an individual starting a new position, and I just don't think this is the time, especially right before our budget, to try to accept this position. Like I said, we fund Cool $100,000, and indirectly, yeah, the city is paying for this because it's coming out of that, it's being funded, but $18,000, but we could put the $18,000 to the cultural arts and give them $18,000 less. And we don't even know if we're going to be funding them $100,000 this year. And is it going to reflect to the grant money that Cool receives? And that's why I do support the position, but I can't support the pay raise. Thank you.
Anyone else who'd like to weigh in on this issue? Councilor Broderick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to support it. I supported it before, and I think that it's been reworked, and I think with the mayor's help, I know you put some time and effort into this, Mr. Mayor. It spells out a lot of the concerns, and I think that the protection's there for the taxpayers. The salary is the same this year coming as it has been in the past, and any money that they get in grants is going to go towards the salary. If it's shortfall, then the issue is going to be rest with Cool. So I think it's pretty clear. So I'm going to support it. I think it's it's going to be one of the vital, it already has become a vital economic engine. And going forward, I think it's a clear sign to the community that the city finds it to be an important economic engine, and we're going to support it. And I'm looking for big things to come from from that office and for the economic development in this city. Thank you.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I plan on supporting the ordinance this evening, and I want to go on record, Mr. Mayor, as congratulating you and thanking you for your hard work over the last few months in really bringing the partners to the table, because there were some issues that Councilor Rita Mercia and Councilor Mike Lindsay brought up earlier this evening, and we were able to work those out. We were able to make some language changes and work those issues out, and it was really gratifying to see the people come to the microphone this evening that have been part of the partnership for the past, say, 10, 15 years, to really bring it to the next level and to talk about the creative economy. And the first step in the Mount Auburn study is to really make this change in the office, and I think we're going to be able to accomplish that this evening. And again, I look forward to a review, be it in 6 months or 12 months, because I really believe it's going to be positive for the community. And again, I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. I just briefly want to make a statement that there was no hidden secret. Manager Lynch and I went round and round on this particular issue. We sat down, we looked at the ordinance, made amendments to the ordinance that I think is before you this evening. It's going to be beneficial to everyone. And I'd like to just point out two paragraphs. The Office of Cultural Affairs and Special Events shall be a liaison to, but have no administrative authority over the Greater Merrimack Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Paul Songus Arena, Lowell Memorial Auditorium. And that was an issue with me from day one. Also, was an issue with many of my colleagues, and I want to clearly explain this to the viewing audience. The salary of $45,999 comes out of the fund, the general fund anyways, for this person. The additional money will be generated from cultural grants applied for and received by Office of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. In the event that such cultural grants are not available in whole or part for any given fiscal year, the director's salary will be adjusted accordingly. I think that's fair. I respect Councilor Kazanjian's feeling on this issue, but this the democracy we live in, and hopefully, Mr. Manager, we can move on and make this department worthwhile for the city and for tourism in our city. So, any other questions, Councilor Elliott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I supported this the last time it came through, and I'm going to support it again tonight. And it had to be probably 10 years ago that this council recognized that culture, if you will, was going to be the next economic engine of the city, and whether that is through artists, whether it's through festivals, whether it's through entertainment, the basis of all of the exploits in the last 10, 12 years has been a result of the cultural development of the city. And it's become a driving force. If you look all around the city, from housing through making the city a destination city through entertainment, or just cultural events. That's what's bringing people to the city. That's what the city is being now renowned for. And having a person to coordinate this is really quite important. So I'm going to support it. I understand fiscal constraints that we face, but we should know this is not, the additional money is not a burden or part of the general fund or the taxpayers. And I think the manager recognized that as well as members of the council. So to support culture, to support the development and enhancement of what we established, it's really critical to move forward and implement those recommendations from the study that was done in the Lowell plan. And this is the first step tonight in many of a series of initiatives that we need to address. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's an exciting thing for the city, even when faced with, with fiscal constraints. We've been here before, and but we still have to move forward, and this does just that for us. So, thank you.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Thank you, Mayor. You didn't mention Alasha Park. Is that?
No, it has nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing to do. Okay.
No,
All right. Okay.
no,
Thank you.
No.
Okay.
No bearing. I think that's contracted out UMass Lowell
Okay.
and to the Spinners, and there
Right.
wouldn't be any affiliation there whatsoever.
Okay, I was just curious. Okay. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for coming down this evening, whether you were in favor or in opposition. This is the democracy we live in. If there's nothing else further said, roll call.
Councilor Kazanjian?
No.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 nay.
Thank you.
Motion by Councilor Rita Mercia. City Council requests Tabitha Potter Memorial at the Riley School be placed as Shed Park, and that the matter be referred to the Board of Parks for action on May 28th. So, on the motion, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I received a communication from Tom Belgard, the Commissioner of Parks Recreation, and he received a letter from Dr. Carla Brooks-Beer, the Superintendent of Schools, informing Tom Belgard that in August 16th of the year 2000, we voted as well and referred it to the school committee, and they supported to have a memorial stone at the Brady School, which is the Pine Street School. And at that time, since it was a school, that was a fitting place for the memorial, since Tabitha Potter had gone to that school. Well, now it is the health department. So the grandmother of Tabitha Potter, Shirley Gendro, asked that the stone be removed and to see if we could get it over to Shed Park. Having done that, the superintendent released the stone to do whatever the wish of the grandmother was. So I'm bringing it up to the city council to see if we could support the grandmother's request. And I don't know that, in essence, to save time, I would just refer this motion to the Board of Parks, because they will meet on June 25th, the last Wednesday in the month. So in essence, to save time, if we, through this motion, could refer it to the Board of Parks for their approval, and that was the request for this motion.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Refer it to the Board of Parks?
Yes, thank you.
And that's an excellent motion, Councilor.
Could I just have a roll call so that
Sure.
I would speak at the Board of Parks for the grandmother, and I would like to say that it was unanimously supported. So if I could request a roll call, please.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Motion by Council Rita Mercia. City Council requests the city manager to create an area in the city to establish a community garden in the future. Seconded by Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're hearing a lot of talk lately about the word green, green buildings, green energy, green. How about a green thumb? How about a community garden? Well, in keeping with the word green and taking this goal a step further, I'd like to suggest that we investigate ways of offering an area to be set aside for residents who, number one, live in apartments, and secondly, people who do not have adequate amount of land that don't live in apartments, but they would like to grow a garden. I know some time ago we thought, I know that there was a little type of community garden in the neighborhood of the Acre, and it was on Franklin Court. And a lot of Southeast Asians were growing vegetables and things there. I don't know if we still have that, but that was just a suggestion about that neighborhood. And how about if we see if there's a grant writer in the planning department that can find a way to apply for a grant that will help our residents grow some of their own vegetables in an effort to save money and get people back to nature. There are community gardens or victory gardens in most towns, but I know people who are inquiring that with me about Lowell, and I don't have an answer for them. And these are Lowell residents who they don't want to take their garden and go into Tewksbury or Drake. We need one here, I firmly believe. So let's set out a plan in place. Where should that area be? Shall we set a cost of a fee to apply? I know that the standard plot size is about 25 by 27. I feel if we can create a dog park, we can do anything. Why not be a city that offers a wide variety of opportunity for many people? I think that we can do it, and I'd be willing to try. Maybe this year is too late, but let's jump on it for next year. And I'm thinking of a place that I remember that the senior center used to have their annual outing every year until it got too very hot. Over at Wang Field on the Pawtucket Boulevard, right across from the water utility. I don't know, it might be state land. Could we have a partnership with the state whereby we ask our state legislators if we could just use some of that land for community gardens? I'm not particularly fond of tomatoes, but when you grow your own tomato in a garden, there's nothing like it. It's the best. So I have a little bit of land, but there are those who don't have any land, probably would like to, with the price of gas, maybe they could, compensate saving that money by growing their own vegetables. I think this is a city that we just established a cultural organization merger here. I think this city is up for anything. I think with dog parks and green thumbs and land available for those that have not, let's try to see if we could do this. And I'm not trying to put the pressure on you, Mr. Manager. It's probably maybe too late, but it's something we could look forward to for the future. Maybe next year we can start something. Okay.
Council, I do know you grow your own tomatoes.
I do.
Council Lindsay.
It's an interesting motion.
Yes,
The
it is.
term is community gardens, but I did see something on TV over the weekend, and through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager, the term they used was lifestyle centers, and it was an outdoor green area where they had multiple activities going on, such as maybe a garden, maybe there was a dog park. But there's 150 of these in the United States, and it seems to be a trend or kind of an up-and-coming theme that a lot of mid-sized cities are using as, I thought right away of the jam plan, or an area in the jam plan that, people are attracted to, that in turn would attract them to the area businesses and things. But does that mean lifestyle centers? That was the term I'm pretty sure that they used. Maybe we could ask Adam if you're not familiar with it.
I imagine it's used in a number of different ways. Lifestyle centers, generally, that I've been familiar with, have been more of a sort of a business center, retail center that has a mix of uses that includes open space as well as different types of retail that, as the name implies, deal more with the lifestyle of the people that go there. But it may have some other, there may be some other concepts that have that same term. We'll certainly look into that as it relates to, but I think it speaks to the whole notion too of, whether it's walking a dog, growing a garden, active recreation, passive recreation, whatever the case may be, you want a city that has all of these different aspects. So we can certainly look into that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries, and it's a great motion, Councilor. Moving on with the agenda, by Mayor Caulfield, any objection for me presenting this motion from the podium? City Council requests a communication received from French Excavating relative to renewable energy be forwarded to the Environmental Neighborhood Subcommittee, and I would like to also include the manager on that discussion. And I'll just briefly, on your desk, there is a communication, and it's from Mr. French. Mr. French called the mayor's office, and I talked to him. And as you well know, Mr. French is in excavating, received quite an award on Middlesex Street for acting fast when they were working over there. I forget what the issue was, but they were right there to help people. And renewable energy, Mr. French is also in another business, and that's solar power. And he indicated to me on the phone that the city of Chicago alone has installed solar powers on 200 buildings, and it's saving money. And I said to him, bring this forward, present it to the council, and if we can save money, that's what we're here for. Mr. French, the podium's yours.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much, and Mr. Manager, thank you very much for your time. City Council members, I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you. As the Mayor spoke, I am the owner of WL French Excavating. We've done numerous projects in the city. Also Precision Environmental, and we have contracts with the city as well. And we're a neighbor. We're over in North Billerica. And as we were, we've got 40 years experience in the construction industry. And I'll go quickly. We're doing projects right now. We're building the new taxiway runway at Logan Airport. It's a 2-year project. We're also doing the out shaft drain underneath the city of Boston. We're a large part of that project as well. So we get involved with big construction projects. And as we were working in the construction and environmental field, we're one of the biggest transporters of contaminated soils in New England. So we're into every landfill in all the states neighboring Mass. Vermont is about the only state we don't run into. But the cities and towns, they're sitting on this property, and a lot of them, they have no idea what to do with it. You know, dog park, or we're going to have a compost area. Some cities are creating a renewable energy by taking methane out of the landfills. But even with methane as a renewable energy, it eventually it will run out. And so we, wanted to answer the questions for some of these towns. Some of them were, we want to build a hospital on the landfill, and we're telling them you can't. And they're saying, what is our highest and best use for our landfill? And that's how we evolved into the renewable energy field. We did about a 2-year study. We looked at wind turbines and actually burning trash to make energy, and just looking at all the different options, because if we were going to get into it, we wanted to get into the absolute best renewable energy source. And solar, as far as I'm concerned, is the best. It's the cleanest, it's the healthiest, and in the long term, it will come back to you, and you will actually take properties that are liabilities and turn them into assets. The city may even make money, but you surely will save money. Can I guarantee you will make money? I can't say that, because each state is different. The federal funding and the grants that are coming out, they're incredible. I don't know where Massachusetts, as far as they're in the lead. Every day you hear the governor talking about new situations for renewable energy systems, but I think you can all agree that when you pull up to get gasoline at the gas station, it's not, oh, geez, 90 cents? Oh, $1.10? Now we're $4.10. I mean, the energy costs, we are in an energy crisis. Nobody's saying it, but we are in one, because right now, as a businessman, I can't control my own destiny. I don't know what I'm going to make next month, because I don't know what my fuel costs are going to be. Nor can the city look into the future and say, what's our energy costs going to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now? As far as a businessman goes, I'm the owner of these companies and all this, but the biggest thing I am is a father and a granddad. And if I have a legacy, and if any of us have a legacy, we ought to, as a generation, look at cleaning the place up, and this is a clean energy source, and it's a source that, if we don't do something soon, pretty soon this will not be an independent country. Other countries they'll run our economy if they're not doing it now. And so it's a subject that I have a lot of passion for, and I think that everybody in this country has to take a look and say, where are we going? And this is where I think we got to go. And we would love to sit down with any, the mayor mentioned he was going to put a council together to look into renewable energies, and we would love to come in and have the opportunity to sit and help the city get a hard look at this. And we have partners with Spire Corporation, which they have a spin-off as Gloria Spire. They are one of the biggest solar developers and suppliers in the world, and they're our partner. And they did the Chicago job. And when I called the mayor, I stressed that, Mayor, we don't want to do 1 or 2 buildings. We want to do the whole city. And the mayor said, come on in, I want to hear what you're saying, because he heard money. We can save you money, and we can make you so that you are an independent city. And you can look in your future and you say, well, we know what our energy costs are going to be 5 years from now, because we're independent. We have our own energy source. There are so many private entities and municipalities and developers that are jumping on with us that we're not quite sure how much this is going to grow. It's just like, it's climbing like, we can't believe where we're going with this. I've got a great staff working with me, and this is something that is going to be beneficial to all. I really believe it. And Mayor, the grants that are out there, they're just growing and growing, and I think that for you people as politicians and council members, if you can do something and put Lowell out in the forefront of this, you'd really
be doing something special for this state. Thank you, Mr. French. I neglected to get a second on that motion, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Okay, now, thank you, Mr. French, and I'll let my colleagues speak on your proposal, and Councilor Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. French, for coming down and speaking to us on this topic. It wasn't too long ago, maybe a year ago, and we were contemplating solar energy out at Greater Lowell Technical High School, and the price, the costs were prohibited. But with solar energy today, is it that the energy costs of oil are catching up to solar, or the prices of solar coming down, or is it a combination of both going in opposite directions, and now we're close to meeting somewhere in the middle?
Yes, the energy costs, I don't know if we're going to meet in the middle, but they will pass solar, yes. And you know, the one thing that solar does is it's cleaning the environment. And that's as important, if not more important at this point, because, you know, we got to stop the pollution somewhere, and this is the cleanest and the most powerful energy source. You're dealing with the sun. It's not going away. You know, if every city and town in this country decided to put a solar program together, how much oil, how much pollution would be, stopped right dead in its tracks, you know? I just believe in it. I think this is the way of the future, you know, whether it be solar or wind, but the wind power is very limited. It has to be, you know, you have to be in the coastal areas for it to really work.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Broderick and Councilor Kazanjian. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a good motion. I don't have any questions right now for Mr. French. Thank you for coming in. I think it's a good topic to send to the environmental, is this going to be joint environmental and neighborhood? And I know that we have a green building commission. Maybe they could
Yes.
get in touch with Mr. French and pick his brain as well, and look forward to a report on it. I think it's, you know, I know we've talked in terms of the capital improvement plan is, you know, pay based on your savings. I don't know how the whole solar energy package will be put together, but I think, you know, it's worth taking a look at. Thank you.
Mr. Manager, do you want to speak on that?
No, just responding to Councilor Broderick's question regarding the work we're doing with our capital improvements. This is the whole notion of solar on the public buildings is part of the performance contracting RFP that's out on the street right now. But I think that Mr. French's ideas regarding the landfill have tremendous potential for us, and I know that Councilor Elliott's been you know, hounding us for some time now about looking at that as some other options for creating renewable forms of energy, be it methane, which is in existence out there, or wind power, and has asked us to look for different ways. And I think this is an example of something that could work quite well. And I think the Green Building Commission is an excellent place for you know, some of these discussions to take place regarding alternative energy on throughout the city.
Councilor Kazanjian.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Mr. French. Are these units going to be put on the rooftops like they did years ago on houses?
Yes,
on the
they
buildings?
are. They would do on, you know, every municipal building, any building that could accept them, they would go on. And any energy that you may get at the point where you're creating more energy than you need, and at that point, you can sell the energy off to the grid. So at some point, once the system's paid for, there's a potential to not only eliminate your energy costs, but to make money on top of that. There is that potential. But, you know, like I say, every state has a different energy program going out right now, but they're happening so fast because people are like, you know, what are we going to do here? I mean, we'll be paying $6 a gallon before the end of the summer, and you know, who knows? Who knows from where? But as a future for our kids, the environment and this country being independent of itself. I mean, you know, we don't want somebody in the Middle East to decide, hey, you know what? Look what we did to their economy when gas went up to $6. Let's make it 10, and we'll all be on horseback. You know, I mean, it's just it's no joke at this point in time.
I think it's a great motion also, but I'd like to see it to go to a subcommittee because we have a lot of questions.
Oh,
and,
definitely.
Yeah, which one will go to? Environmental
I think
subcommittee?
the environmental subcommittee along
Okay.
with the manager.
Okay, great.
And naturally, Mr. French, you understand, we'll have to look at everything, the cost.
Absolutely,
What's the
absolutely.
benefits, and so forth. But
And
it's
we'd
not
like
my,
to-
if Mr. French didn't call me, I wouldn't be presenting this motion, and that's why we're talking about it now. Council Mercier and Council Milonazo?
I just have one question. Are there other companies that do this, or are you just a sole company around here?
There's not many that can do a whole city.
Not many, but there are some.
I
My
don't
only
know, I don't know of
concern-
any,
My
to be
only
honest with you.
concern is that I don't know what our authority as a councilors are as it relates to a private enterprise addressing subcommittee to council. I would prefer to have that go to the city manager, who has the authority under the planning and government to pursue this further. I don't think we have that authority, especially if there are others that can do the same thing. I think we have to, and I'm looking at the city solicitor because I have concerns about an individual company having the leg up when there are other companies that could also and should be considered. Again, I only raised the question. I think it's a great presentation, a great topic, but I'm not so sure it's something that belongs to the council as such, more so than the manager. And I'll just defer my questions to the city solicitor.
Sure, I wholeheartedly agree with the point that you're making tonight, and that even if this was the sole company, it still would create issues. In general, procurement of electricity and the definitions have been broadened under 30B, and it's exempt. But as the manager indicated earlier, that doesn't prevent us from going out and competitively seeking bids pursuant to 30B, which we have done at times. And to your point, I do think it's the appropriate place to bring this is with the administration, and this is certainly things that have been looked at in the past by both DPW as well as the manager's office.
Thank you. That was my only concern.
Council Milonazo?
Again, Mr. Mayor, that was my concern as well. I think it was a very good presentation by Mr. French, but I, again, wouldn't want him to come here this evening and make his company ineligible to do work for the city in the future based upon going through an appropriate Chapter 30B process. So I really do believe, as Councilor Mercier said, that it really does belong with the administration and not the subcommittee.
I think the gist of the motion was to have Mr. French come here and make a presentation about solar power. I'm not indicating that Mr. French is going to get a contract with the city. That's absolutely not the point. I spoke to the manager before the meeting. He said, follow this up through his office, and that's exactly what we can do. Councilor Kazanja?
But do we make a substitute motion to have the manager go out and, with an RFP for this,
No,
how do we,
to
I don't know.
refer it to the manager.
I would prefer, if I may, Mr. Mayor, because of the issues that have been raised, not only by me and Mr. Councilor Milonazo, but the city solicitor's office, I think the whole matter should be referred to the city manager.
That's
and
fine.
at some point in time, if there's an appropriate presentation that needs to be made to the council, it should come from the manager's office
Right.
and not from a subcommittee.
I don't
Because of the-
think anyone has a
Right.
problem with that.
Okay, so I support the substitute motion to have this matter referred to the city manager.
All in favor of, who seconded the motion? You second the motion?
He made the motion,
I'll
I'm
second
seconding it, yeah.
All in favor of the substitute motion indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Substitute motion carries. Mr. French, thank you for being here.
Thank you
Mr. Lynch
all.
will be in touch with you. And once again, it was just a proposal. And
Absolutely.
we're scratching the surface of a
Yes, we
serious
are.
issue.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate your time. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mayor.
Okay, moving on with the agenda. Motion by Mayor Caulfield, a motion speaks for itself. City Council, because the city manager have the DPW repave White Street up to Mount Hope Street, or put it on the repaving list, seconded by Councilor Mercier. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion by Councilor Kazanja. City Council requests the city manager to report on the arena related to contracts and naming rights, seconded by Councilor Elliott. On the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. This is to the manager. I know we had a subcommittee meeting probably about a couple months ago, and we were going to get some reports, and also we're going to meet with the Arena Commission and find out how they're making out with the contracts, and also some of the naming rights to add to the Paul Tsongas Arena, if it's possible. Is that,
Just to, I'll obviously, like every other motion, I'll get a report I'll respond to the motion. I will tell you that the Arena Commission did issue an RFP. They are currently in the process of reviewing the proposals that they've received and then begin negotiations with the applicable bidders. And I have been participating in that process. At this point, we're still in that. Everything that's been done has been done in the confines of executive session. But I will work with the Arena Commission and get a report to the council probably within the next week or two. We have a meeting tomorrow, I believe, Thursday, and hopefully something will come out of that, and then we'll set up a meeting with the Arena Commission to come in and meet with the subcommittee, and then obviously anything that the Arena Commission and I bring forward has to be approved by the City Council.
Okay, great. All right.
Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Martin?
The manager gave a report in our packet tonight about recent, I guess, correspondence regarding the arena. And in that, I think it indicated the RFP that just went out did solicit, ask bidders if they were so inclined to make a proposal concerning naming rights. Was that part of the RFP?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It's just an option. It's been something that we've been talked about at the Arena Commission for a year and a half now, but it was included as one option to bolster the revenue that would be received by the city.
Yeah, and I put the motion before I got the paperwork.
That's
On
correct.
Friday night, so.
Right.
So
yeah.
I just thought it was relevant to the motion, so I thought I'd point it out.
Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Moving on with the agenda. Motion by Councilor Kazanjian. City Council requests the city manager to report on activity that is related to the leasing of storefronts in the new Edward Early Garage, seconded by Councilor Milonazo.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. This is to the manager also. I know a while back ago we had a subcommittee meeting on the storefronts. There was a Chinese restaurant that was interested in leasing out part of the storefront, and they had a couple of possibilities. Do we have any update on what's happening there?
Again, we'll be happy to get a report to the council based upon this motion. In speaking with Adam Bakey about this recently, we do have a number of very good leads for some tenants, and we do anticipate that something will be coming up very soon. If I might suggest, what I could do is prepare a more full report for that, and then have a meeting with the Economic Development Subcommittee to present that.
Well, yeah, we plan on doing that, by the way, on June 10th. The Economic Subcommittee at 5 o'clock. It's going to be with the Edward Early Garage, if we can, and also the city-owned property that I brought up
That would be
about a month or so ago. So
That's a good idea.
if we can do that.
Councilor Lindsay?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And with that report, could we also get some information on, have any organizations applied for those flip grants for across the street, or, fixing up the facades on the other side of the street?
I will. I'll check with Adam on that. I have not heard of anyone that's applied for that yet, because I don't believe we've had set the process up yet. But there may be something that's already happened on that. We'll get a report on that. Include that as part of it.
Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Motion by Councilor Kazanjian. City Council requests the city manager to report on the jam plan roadways, including the lot overpass, seconded by Councilor Armin Mercia.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, it's the city manager. I know we had some concerns a week or so ago with a lot of the residents and also the business owners, most of the business owners, about Appleton Street. And I just wondered if we could get a report or possibly bring us to a neighborhood traffic subcommittee. And this way here, we can keep abreast of what's going on. So if we see any problems or any difficulties, we don't have to raise the red flags from the business owners, and we can address them as we're going along. And this way here, like I said, we can be abreast of what's happening. So I would like to set up that subcommittee if it's possible.
Well, you are the chairman of the traffic.
Right. And
right. And you can call a meeting anytime you like, Councilor.
Yeah, well, I'll see with the budget coming up, I'll see
Right.
what time we have that.
Councilor Broderick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a good motion. I also have heard from someone about Middlesex Street traffic, and my understanding is there is a MEPA hearing this Thursday at 3 o'clock, And I think that some people some business owners would probably like some clarification as to, is this for an approval? Are they're going to walk out of there with approvals for mitigation and so on? There's, I think, some concern that there's been great public input, but that people all of a sudden think that it may be over, and they're not too sure where the process is at. And I know that's at 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, as well as the form-based zoning is Thursday evening for the charrette number 4, I believe.
Mr. Sheehan, manager?
Well, I was going to defer that to Mr. Sheehan. Mr. Sheehan's well familiar with the MEPA process, and I think it's important, Council, that, as you point out, that there has been a substantial amount of public input in this process, and the MEPA process is the more official part of this, that in order to make, well, I'll let Andy take care of this, but rest assured that there's a lot more input that needs to be received at this point. No decisions have been made at this point, but I'll let Mr. Sheehan describe the process.
So the meeting on Thursday will be what's referred to as a scoping session. That will be an opportunity for the development team to present what their vision of the project is, or an overview of the project, and what the anticipated environmental impacts are associated with the project. Okay. The typical impacts that are discussed will be traffic, noise, air pollution, water usage, wastewater disposal, things like that. Certainly the property owners in the Hamilton Canal District area, especially if business owners or other property owners have interest, it's it's certainly in their interest to attend and hear the process, hear the description, understand the process for making comments. There is a comment period that follows the Thursday meeting. I believe it's 30 days, but don't hold me to it. But during that period, anybody can submit comments. You don't even have to be a resident of the city. You can be just an interested party from elsewhere, but certainly anybody from the city is welcome to present comments. And then those comments are all taken into consideration by the Secretary of Environmental Affairs. He then issues a certificate under the MEPA program, either saying that the project is okay as it's proposed, or that there is more work that needs to be done or more information that is required. So it is not a quick process. Nothing will be voted up or voted down on Thursday. It's really the first step in what is typically a fairly long environmental review process.
Thank you. I think it's a good motion. I'm going to support it. Thank you.
Yes, Council Lindsay?
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. And the location of that meeting is Thursday at 3 p.m.
We will get that for you.
You've got the
I don't
location.
have that off
Okay.
the top of my head. Maybe it's in the packets here. Maybe by the end of the meeting, we'll have that for
Okay.
you. Actually, you know what? Why don't we, it's in the environmental report.
Council Rita Mercer?
Mr. Mayor, while they're looking for a date, and we're talking about traffic and studies and all that, I'd like to remind the listening audience that there's a public forum regarding Wood Street, Rook Bridge feasibility analysis and traffic study that Councilor Rodney Elliott brought up last Tuesday, but I wanted to bring it closer to the date.
June 5th?
It's June 5th as well, but it's at 6:30 and it's in the mayor's reception room. It's to hear opinions and concerns and ideas regarding the proposed scope of the work for the upcoming Wood Street, Rook Bridge feasibility analysis, and it's hosted by the Northern Middlesex Council on Governments, of which I'm a member representing you, Mr. Mayor. So that would be Thursday, June 5th, 6:30. So after you attend that meeting at 3 o'clock on Thursday, you can stick around and we'll go over and have another discussion.
I just briefly want to say that Councilor Kazanjian is right by indicating the Neighborhood Traffic Subcommittee or any subcommittee should be informed and kept abreast of what's going on out there. And I went into the Owl Diner one morning and they were furious that there could have been no parking on Appleton Street, which would affect their business. And Novus Engineering on Middlesex Street, they're spending a ton of money renovating that building, and there was a chance the bridge on Middlesex Street was gonna be removed. So I think we have to keep abreast with Trinity Financial and everything that's happening,
Yes.
not only in the Hamilton Canal, but throughout the city. Mr. Manager?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, just so there's clarification, I understand that the situation at the Owl Diner, and I think it's important to point out that when any of this is going on regarding the Hamilton Canal project, or really almost any project in the city, but that in particular, this is all conceptual at this point in time, and I understand the concerns of the business people out there, and we just need to make sure that they're assured that this is a process that they are going to have a role to play here, or they do have a role to play here in providing us with their input and their ideas. And certainly Trinity Financial doesn't have the ability to do any of these things without going through the full review process. And in fact, down the road, these are decisions ultimately that are made by the city council. They're not made by a private developer. So a private developer certainly can't take down a bridge or eliminate parking. These all have to go through the full process, and the city council will have to weigh the benefits and the drawbacks of any of these things. But I think you're right, Mr. Mayor, that we need to make sure that there's a whole process here of getting this information out, and certainly urge people to participate in all the processes along the way.
Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion? Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Final motion of the evening. Motion by Councilor Broderick. Motion requests that the City Council adhere to the City Council rules. Seconded by Councilor Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is actually it's something I was contemplating when we took the vote to go to every other week and continue it after after the summer. You're charged with controlling the meetings, and sometimes it can be difficult. And I think that we have to. And this isn't about pointing out. We all do it. We all suspend the rules. We all speak when we maybe shouldn't, and so on. And I'm not trying to play the police here, but I think we have to be mindful that there are rules in place, and we should try to adhere to them and follow them as best we can, out of respect to the fellow councilors, the manager, but also to the public. We're going to go to a stretch now where we're going to meet every other week, and there's going to be a great temptation to say, well, I'll just suspend the rules because I don't want to wait 2 weeks. Well, if we don't want to wait the 2 weeks, we shouldn't have voted to change the meeting schedule. So, or we should change the rules accordingly. But it deprives the public of an opportunity to come down and register to come and speak. And I think that makes your job more difficult up in the podium of running the meeting. And I just think that it's important that we realize that the rules are there. We can bend them, but we shouldn't make it routine such that people don't understand what's going on and things are brought up in the appearance of people in public. And I've had some people comment to me that it can be somewhat haphazard, that we bounce around. I think that we especially coming in, and I didn't support it, and I'm not going to bring it up, but anymore, I should say, that going every other week, it can be problematic if we don't, start out being mindful of it, I think. And that's the purpose of it.
Who's the chairman of the Rules Committee? Councilor Milonazo? Maybe you should have a meeting, and maybe we can bring different things forward and probably iron things out. But anyone who requests for suspension of the rules, only two councils can say no. That's it. So that's been there. So personally, I don't see an abuse of that. So I think the meetings are running fairly well. So
I think there's going to be more of a stronger pull to do that when we're going to go to every 2 weeks.
Okay.
If someone calls us over the weekend and let's get it in, and I could see it being a problem.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Not a suspension of the rules.
Yes, I am. Yes, I
Councilor
am,
Rita
Mr.
Mercy.
Mayor.
I won't do it.
Well, I know, we can bend the rules a little bit, and I was not paying attention when it came to your motion, Mr. Mayor, about Mount Hope Street to repay from here to there. And I wanted to back up, and Councilor Milonazo said, you can't, look at the last motion, you'd be violating the rules. But I wanted to add on to that, because we, Mr. Mayor, met a person during the week, and they wanted us to address that sewer in the middle
Oh,
of their
yes, you're right,
street
right.
at 34 Mount Pleasant.
Yes, right.
And I wanted to just write that down and add on to that motion. So if I have to suspend the rules and we have to do
We
this.
can, we can.
Mr. Manager, you can address that?
I've got that one
And I've been
covered.
so busy, I forgot to call in on it to you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager.
Listen, before we adjourn,
Just
before we
just
adjourn,
exactly.
I received a communication from Manager Lynch. The Lasher Field Clubhouse opening. Drew Weber of the Low Spinners has informed me that renovations to the clubhouse are now complete. He and the Spinners are very pleased with the new clubhouse and have extended an invitation to tour the enhanced facility and enjoy lunch on Wednesday, June 4th, 2008, 12:30 p.m. Accept the communication placed on file by Councilor Allen Mercer, seconded by Councilor Martin, and, yes.
Mr. Mayor, just Councilor Lenzi had asked about the site of the MIPA hearing. That's at the Park Service Visitor Center on Market Street. And comments are due June 6th, and those are to be sent to Ian Bowles, the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. And anyone interested can, this is their environmental notification form that they've submitted. And so we can provide people with information if they need that. And it's also on our website. Oh, good.
Councilor Mercer?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you know the day that Drew Weber is inviting us to see the clubhouse renovations or whatever, I think that's the same day that a few of us are supposed to go to Worcester to look at the recycling over there, so
It's at 12:30, I
it's
think.
It's been timed so that you'll be back by that.
I will be?
Yes, you will
Okay.
be.
Thanks.
We did that on purpose.
Before we adjourn, this Saturday, May 31st, at 12 noon, at the corner of Forest and Stevens Street, will be dedicated to John F. Landry Jr., a young man who gave his life in Iraq. His parents are up here from Florida. All the veterans organizations and the public is invited to attend this great dedication and let his family know how much gratitude we have for his sacrifice. Also, the city clerk has given me this. It's just a friendly reminder to the viewing audience that the city council will enter into its summer schedule, where we will meet on the second and fourth Tuesday each month. The next regular scheduled meeting is Tuesday, June the 10th. Okay? Any other questions before we adjourn? And what is... A motion to adjourn by Councilor Elliott, second by Councilor Lindsay. Thank you. Next.